Yes, what's happening? We are back, people. Good evening to you all. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to this show. I thought we'd do another Arsenal roundabout to look towards tomorrow night's Carabao Cup game against West Ham United, which, to be fair, is going to be a difficult one. It's always a horrible place to go, to be fair, not just because the football's at times tough, but because the atmosphere and the actual is really difficult for away fans, man. So I won't be there tomorrow, but I will be watching it. But I'll be watching it from home, which will be, to be fair, one of the first times I can actually get to watch a game on the TV. It's been a while, man. Big up my panel as always. Premsy in the house. Prems, what are you telling me?
Oh, good, bro. Just doing loads of jobs around the house, man. So not really had no time to think. But yeah, man, all good. Big up the chat, big up the panel. I guess it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, man, it will be absolutely. Northside, what are you saying, bro?
I'm good. I'm here. Yeah, man. Bring on the next game. Just bring on the next game, man.
Roll on, man. Listen, not a debut on this channel by any means, but a debut on this particular panel. Tom Canton, Guna Talk TV. What are you telling me, Tom? You good?
Yes, mate. Very good. Very good. Good day. Happy vibes, and looking forward to tomorrow's game. I am going to be there, like you, mate. You got.
Are you going? Are you?
I'm working it, so yeah.
So at least you won't be sat in the rubbish away end, like
no. I'll be up in the gods though. Yeah.
Honestly, man, it's so weird. I went a couple of years ago. And when we beat him 2-1, I think Gabriel and Holding both scored, and it was like you could hardly see. It was just awful. Like there's like that weird scaffolding bit below it, isn't there? Where you're like, there's nothing. There's like no seats. It's just like, what is going on with this ground? Like Upton Park was quality, but
yeah, it's a heartless
strange one. Weird one, man. This could be interesting tonight because Tom and I disagree on where we're at in terms of this competition, or we did of last time we spoke, but maybe things have changed. And I'm sure Northside and Tom will have very different of opinions when it comes to Arsenal. So I'm looking forward to where we go with this one, man. So let's start with you, Prems. Carabao Cup, West Ham, Arsenal. Manchester City are out of it, bro. I believe, and I had to argue with Robbie about this because he was like, well, if we go through, we go through. This was against Brentford. But if I really want to beat like Bournemouth, I think it was at the weekend, I don't care if we go out in the Carabao Cup. If we could only win one, I'd take the league over the League Cup, right? But I argued with him because I felt like we need to win a competition we haven't won for 30 years. And this League Cup is one of those, man. 30 years without winning this trophy is too long for a club of Arsenal's size. And I believe Mikel Arteta needs a trophy. So where do you stand on this competition, Prems? Are you like taking this one seriously, bro?
Nah, for me, I want to take every competition seriously because for Arsenal, I don't think we've got any God-given right to go out there and win anything. We've got to earn it. And I think picking up a small little cup, because it is a small little cup, it's not one of the big ones, but there's only 4 cups that are on offer every season. And look at last season, we sacrificed cups and we did go all in for the Premier League, and it didn't quite work out for us. And then we were cupless as well. So I think we have got a deeper squad than we've had previously. And I think we should be going in strong, maybe adding a few players, mixing it up a little bit, but going in with a strong team because I want to win this competition. 2 games, you do 2 games, you're in the final. So why not?
Yeah, 100. Northside, where you at with this one, bro? Because for me, it's serious. We've got to win it. Now that Man City are out, I think Arsenal are favourites. I think it's us and Liverpool. So I think that we've got a good chance. But will we take this one seriously, Northside?
No, I agree with Premsy. Football's about trophies, and we got to be winning trophies. We've not been winning the major trophies, but at the end of the day, I'd rather take a trophy in the season than taking no trophy. We're yet to see if we're able to win the Premier League or anything in Europe under this manager. So we have to be taking this serious. The ultimate goal is trophies. I don't want to see this kind of, we don't care about trophies, we don't care about this, we don't care about that. You saw how a lot of this fan base was very happy at us winning the Community Shield. To me, that's a friendly. It's not a trophy. It's a friendly and it's a shield. So if the fan base are happy with a Community Shield, we should be pushing on to win other trophies. This is a trophy that I want to win. Yes, it's not the biggest priority, but at the end of the day, beggars can't be choosers. We've not won the Premier League since 2004. We've not won in Europe in 30 years. So at the end of the day, it's still a big question mark for me whether this manager can get us over the line to win the Premier League or to win in Europe. So we have to go for the FA Cup. We have to go for the Carabao Cup as well as the other two. I want to see us, go for it this year and try and win the Carabao Cup and try and win the FA Cup. I don't see Pep looking down in competitions like this. So neither should we. We should go for it.
Yeah, 100. Tom, same question to you, because you and I have disagreed on this. There's not really a trophy that does anything for you. It's the Energy Drink Cup. Man United won it. Who cares? But for me, it's a trophy. Where do you stand, bro? Can we go for all four this season, do you think?
I think, the League Cup definitely took on a new dimension when Man City got knocked out. I think, where me and you diverge on this is a little bit about kind of the feeling of being knocked out. More not about not caring about it. It's more like the feeling of being knocked out. Like last season when we were eliminated by Brighton, like I'd be lying if I said I was gutted that we got knocked out of it. I'd be lying if I said that I was bothered that Man United ended up winning it. I think everyone's pretty much forgotten already that Man United won that competition, and and look where that fan base is, and look where that club is at the moment as well. It's not, it's not brought them forwards. And I think another discussion that we have is what would you rather qualify for the Champions League or win the League Cup? Is something else we talk about. And I say if it's a choice this season between finishing outside of a Champions League qualification spot and winning the League Cup, I'm taking that Champions League qualification because I'd rather be in a position to try and win the Champions League than have a League Cup to my name. I get the argument of in 20 years' time, I want to look back on a League Cup that I've won rather than bask in a season that we only qualified for the Champions League. But the point is, obviously, it's the context of what follows. And last season, when we were knocked out of it, the context was you've fallen out of it to give yourself a better chance of trying to go for the league, to go for the Europa League, and it sadly didn't happen. But I'd still lean towards, a chance at winning the Champions League over going all in on the League Cup. But that said, I still want to win tomorrow. It's not me saying that I don't want us to win tomorrow against West Ham. I do. I want us to go through. I think we've got a great chance in this tournament because Man City are gone. Newcastle and Man United are playing one another. And there's a lot of small teams playing each other. So we could, like Man United did last season, get a very fortunate run to the final, in which case I'd be delighted if we won it.
Yeah, Premsy, it's interesting. People talk about comparisons with would you rathers.
Yeah.
I've always said I would rather win a trophy. Now, there's context to that. I think we could do both. Like, I think we could get Champions League qualification and get the trophy. A lot of people will sit there and say, oh, but if I can only give you either. That's a great question, and it's one that we can debate. But really, if Arsenal finish outside of a Champions League position this year, really everybody should just be sacked because it's been an absolute disastrous season, right? So for me, I think that if we get to the situation of Arsenal can do well in this competition because Manchester City, Liverpool are still in it, Manchester City are out, I think we've got a good opportunity of winning the whole thing. So my question to you tomorrow is, what sort of team are you expecting? Because are we going to go strong? Are we going to rotate? We saw rotation at Sheffield United. Some people said that they were doing that so that we could prepare ourselves for Wednesday. And other people were saying that they were resting because it's Newcastle they're getting the rest for. So what do you expect to see team-wise tomorrow, bruv?
Do you know what? Just before I answer that, Dan, I just want to touch on the aspects of why we can't challenge on all fronts. Because when you deep the situation, Arteta's had a lot of money to spend. He's brought in a lot of bodies. We should now be in a place 3.5 years later where we should have a deep enough squad to challenge on all fronts, because that's what it's about, innit? Look, if, like you said, Dan, I'd rather look back and see a trophy in my cabinet than remembering I finished fourth. You know what I'm saying? I understand finishing in Europe. It is a big prize in itself, because if you're out of Europe, you can't attract the best players and you want to win the biggest trophies. I get that. But it's only a few games, the Carabao Cup as well. It's not like it's a long tournament. 2-3 games, you're into the finals, you know what I mean? So why have we not got a deep enough squad, a good enough squad to challenge in that competition when we've got a fantastic chance to win it, with the big boys being City being out? Do you know what I mean? So that's how I look at it on that. But for tomorrow, I want to see a little bit of a mix between... I want to see a lot of the first teamers, to be honest with you, and maybe the odd two fringe player that might be knocking on the door, because I don't want to take this lightly. I think winning builds momentum, and the more we win, the better it's only going to be for us. Obviously, I think who we got Burnley after that in the league.
Newcastle on the weekend, and then we got Burnley and Sevilla. Yeah,
We got Newcastle before Burnley, right? So
Yeah.
so he'd mix it up a little bit and then just keep that momentum going into the Newcastle game, and then hopefully we can get the 3 points there as well.
yeah, man. Northside, you've questioned the squad depth. You've said that we haven't really fixed the bench, as you call it. You've said that we haven't really got any stronger from last season. So what are you expecting tomorrow night, bro, in terms of the team news? Are you expecting to see a strong side, a B side, a mix? What are you saying?
Put out our strongest team. A lot of people are saying that this year we're playing to control the game, that we haven't got a lot of fluidity. I still question the fluidity in the midfield. Whenever we talk about our midfielders this season, is Declan Rice the one for the praise? Havertz isn't kicked on. I think he was a passenger against Sheffield United. And ultimately, why I didn't rate this guy, I didn't rate him at Chelsea, and I've not rated him at his time here until he gives me something to rate. And the consistency for being our third highest signing. ESR needs a lot of game time. I do think he's been decent. I don't think he was trash against Sheffield United, but I do think it's time for him to see if he can kick on. He needs minutes. Fabio Vieira should be playing. He should be starting over Havertz. And we've not found the balance in the midfield, if I be completely honest, this season. And some people may say about injuries and stuff, but at the end of the day, I just feel like we need to put our strongest team up and the team that's in form. Havertz needs to be dropped. That's how I see it. Saka looks like he's not fit, if I be completely honest. Love Saka, but he looks like he's not fit, in all honesty. And yeah, we just need to make players accountable. Odegaard hasn't. I was happy actually that Arteta made Odegaard accountable. That's what I want to see Arteta do with every single player, make them accountable. You don't start in his team if you keep dropping stinkers. Everybody needs to be made accountable, keep them sharp on their toes, and the competition up. And that's what I want to see. I don't think the bench is fixed, and I think that's absolutely shocking from this manager, because the end of last season, the universal reason Arsenal fans said that we didn't win the league last season was the bench. So why has that not been addressed? You know, so listen, it is what it is. We've got the squad that we've got. At the start of the season, a lot of people were telling me that the bench is fixed. We'll see. I don't think it is. I still think there's a lot that needs to be done. But there are players that have, shown a bit more form than others and I think have more reason to be playing. Like I said, Fabio Vieira should be playing alongside Emil Smith-Rowe over Jorginho and Havertz. So that's the midfield I want to see. And yeah, Kivior looked decent against Sheffield United. I wasn't impressed with him last season. I'd go back. I wouldn't start Kivior if I don't have to. Not really impressed. I do think Saka needs to have a rest. Nketiah, well, we have to just go with Nketiah, innit? Done well against Sheffield United. I still don't think he's a clinical striker. I've seen him turn up in certain games, Chelsea, but his record in all competitions, last season, 9 goals. Season before that, 10 goals. This is in all competitions. Never really been a striker that's really kicked on. He's had moments, but moments don't win you major honours. You need consistency. And that's why I've got a massive... I just don't think he's good enough. But it is what it is. Jesus is injured. We have to go with Nketiah. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is, bro. Like, there's a lot of question marks. But yeah, I just want him to do what he did with Odegaard and make everybody... make sure that you put the team out that deserves to be on the pitch. Not because you're trying to shoehorn Havertz because you spent 60 million on him, when in reality, he hasn't really given us anything back. Let's keep it real. For our third highest signing, he hasn't really given us much back. The fan base are very critical against Pepe. I can remember more Pepe moments than Havertz, and I know it's early on, but at the end of the day, when you come in for big money, 65 million for Arsenal is big money since he's our third highest signing. I expect a lot better. I expect a lot better than what I've seen from Havertz. I don't want to see him starting.
Interesting. Gunali, big up, man. Thanks for joining, man. Nah, come on. It's fine. Listen, Northside said a lot there in relation to Odegaard and Havertz and said that Arteta made him accountable. Do you think that's the case? Do you think it was just a rest for Odegaard? Do you think it was dropped to poor form? And what have you made of the side that started at Sheffield United in relation to the side that could start tomorrow, bro?
Well, I don't think he was dropped for poor form. I just think that he was rested. I think he's a club captain. I don't think that Arteta is going to be, dropping Odegaard. I don't see that. And you know what? before I saw this, before I saw the team line, when I saw the team lineup, I actually thought I don't like it, but I actually respected it because ultimately Sheffield United are absolute dross. I think the three teams that have come up, they are horrible. They're horrible, horrible clubs, and
Agreed.
we should have more than enough to beat them. But honestly, ultimately, I was quite happy with the changes only because of the team that we were playing against. So as much as I didn't like it, I don't, obviously I'm not, Eddie Nketiah's biggest fan. I'm not gonna, hide that. I'm not too amused by the performances of Havertz, but I thought, well, ultimately, this is a game where he can hopefully show a bit more. So I'm not going to sit here and start complaining. I did maybe want to see Tomiyasu start, but I think again, like, I think it's just difficult to swap a whole team out and then put a whole new team in. That's just not how football works. Unfortunately, you can't make 10 changes in a Premier League game because of, you do need a bit of continuity. There are things that go on behind the scenes, player performances, bonuses and stuff like that. So I'm not saying it's right, but it is what it is. And it was a game to make the subs and the changes, and I was happy with that. So yeah, listen, I feel like it was, it was a decent performance, or it was a good performance, and the man got 3 goals, so I can't complain.
Yeah, Eddie did have a good game, and obviously the third goal, wow, what a hit. Tom, let's talk to you. Some points from Goodally and Northside there. I agree with both. I think what Goodally is saying is you can't make 10 changes. I don't want to see 10 changes tomorrow. I don't mind seeing 3 or 4 like Pep Guardiola has done with Man City, where 3 or 4 change here, and the next game 3 or 4 change again. I don't want to see more than that. I don't want to play a complete B-side personally, because they haven't kicked the ball together. They might not have kicked the ball too long, and I appreciate that they need some minutes in their legs, but at the same time, it's a big risk to play 10 players or make 10 changes. So talk to me about what you expect to see tomorrow on the lineup. And also a mention on Eddie, because Eddie is someone that you looked at and thought, stats-wise, has actually impressed, man. So talk to me, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I think with tomorrow and the lineup and stuff, I think a lot of people contradict themselves actually regarding their view of rotation, their view of the squad, and their view of spending. Because Arteta or Edu or the ownership or whoever you want to point fingers at, one of the biggest criticisms is that we've spent all this money and we continue to spend money and we're continuing to invest in players, be it Havertz or Vieira or Timber, who's sadly injured, and we're adding depth, we're adding options in these different positions, and then we say that we need to play the best 11 possible in these games.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, hold on. If we're pointing the finger at the club and saying that you've spent all this money, and then we're saying we want to play the strongest lineup, there's a contradiction there. Because if we've spent all this money, surely we want to rotate, and surely we've given ourselves the license to rotate by investing in this depth, by investing in Havertz and Vieira. No matter, I've been disappointed with Havertz too this season. I've expected more. I want more from him, and I think he can give more. And I'm willing to give him, the season to show me that he can indeed give more. But I don't want to see, our team that's going to face Newcastle tomorrow. That game's in 3 days. That game is arguably, alongside Anfield, the biggest game with Anfield left this year in 2023. And after you play Wednesday, you don't train the Thursday as a recovery day. You have a training session on the Friday, and then you travel up for the game on Saturday. And so the expectation that we play our strongest team against West Ham, a team that, just lost at home to Everton at the weekend, with all the money we've spent, we should be in a position to bring in a £34 million Vieira, bring in a £65 million Havertz and play, start a Reece Nelson you've just committed a 6-figure salary to. I would be starting players like this. You've spent 20 million on Jakub Kiwior. I disagree with Northside on Kiwior. He actually did impress me last season. I think he offered a lot. I think he showed great promise, actually, from what he did. I think you think about that Newcastle
Had a good
performance
game at the
away from
weekend,
home.
I thought.
Indeed. And you look at that Newcastle performance where he came into a position at right-sided centre-back he's never played before and did really well in keeping a clean sheet up at a very, very difficult ground. So, yeah, I think that tomorrow there's certainly license to rotate. And I think a lot of Arteta's critics have actually given him that license to rotate contradictorily, because they've put themselves in a position where, you've said he spent loads of money and now you want to play the strongest team. Well, if you can't have it both ways. You can say he spent a lot of money and criticise him for it. But then you can't turn around and say a moan at him if he doesn't play the strongest team, because you said that he spent loads of money, so he's also got to use that money he spent. Regarding Nketiah, just quickly on that, I know I've gone on a little bit already. Look, I think that someone that's putting in statistics on his starts is really good. I think that, consistency is a question mark, but I don't think he's been allowed consistency in himself. Obviously he's not consistently in the starting 11. That's because Arteta thinks that Gabriel Jesus is a better option. And I can't blame him for that, because I personally would start Gabriel Jesus in a best 11 for Arsenal at the moment. But what I would say is that all he can do is continue doing what he does do when he starts. His goals per starts is an excellent record. His non-penalty goals per starts is better than Ivan Toney in the last 3 seasons. So that kind of tells you what we're dealing with. And if he's given a consistent run of starts, he scores goals. And I don't think there's too many number 2 strikers in the Premier League better than him, to be honest. I think Julian Alvarez is there, Callum Wilson. But I think he's struggling beyond those 2, to be honest.
Some interesting points, Premsy. I'm gonna throw it to you. I'm gonna ask, and I'll come back to Tom on this one again in a minute. Is there an argument, Prems, that would, like Northside has said, start your strongest side? Is there an argument with 5 subs now that we could do that? Let's say we play our best 11. It's not going to have Partey and Jesus anyway, so I imagine it will be Eddie and Nketiah and Jorginho, let's say. And then you go into the game. West Ham have made a couple of changes as well. We find ourselves in a position where we're, let's say, 2-0 up. And then you can then make 5 subs. Saka comes off, Martinelli comes off, Rice comes off, Saliba comes off. Your 5 main guys. And you end the game with the likes of Smith Rowe, Havertz, Nelson, etc. Is there an argument to be had that could be the case, Prems?
Yeah, I think it could be, to be honest with you. I think obviously you're risking yourself when you bring in 5 subs on at once, that the rhythm of the game might change, and you don't know if they can end up getting back into it at 2-0 down. But of course, we should have enough quality on the bench now that when we should call upon these players, they should be good enough to basically stand up tall, because this is Arteta's team now. This is what he's assembled. Obviously, everybody getting a new contract or everyone coming in via him, we should be able to do that. But at the same time, I fully understand, going with a mix as well, because it gives players like ESR, it gives other players some minutes in their legs. So if they're called upon in the Premier League, they can be put to good use. So I would mix it up a little. I wouldn't change it in bagfuls. I'll probably mix it up with 3-4 players and keep like the base of our team, to be honest with you. Give Ramsdale a start. I think he hasn't done anything wrong for me to be dropped, and take it from there.
Mm-hmm. Gunali, let me come to you on Eddie and Nketiah and Jorginho. It looks like they're the 2 at the moment that are being given the nod ahead of Partey and Jesus. I know we've got other options. Where are you with both of those positions? Not just the players, because for me, there's a couple options, right? I wanted to see Trossard playing through in the false 9. That would have been my number 1 option ahead of Havertz and Eddie. But we have got Havertz and Eddie that can play in the number 9 as well. Also in the midfield, we've got 2 options. We can either just keep it the same and play Jorginho ahead of Partey, or we can play Rice in the 6 and have 2 attacking 8s of either Ødegaard and Vieira, or Ødegaard and Smith Rowe, or even Ødegaard and Havertz that we've seen before as well. Where are you at with those 2 positions? Sorry.
I think my issue with Jorginho, I think like everyone else, is he just doesn't have the legs. He does scare me a little bit in terms of, the capabilities that he's got. I don't think that he, in the type of team that we are now, he's best suited. I know he does keep the ball, but some of the things that he's been known for, I just don't think that he does that to the high enough level. But it is what it is. He's come in and he's done relatively well in the games he's played. The worst game obviously was the Spurs at home, where he obviously made a huge mistake, which led to the 2-2. But other than that, I think he's been all right. He's done his job. With Nketiah, look, I'm not going to go crazy. I think ultimately you can give me all the stats about his goals to games ratio when he starts, etc., etc. But you have to look at it in the Premier League. He scored in 2 games, I believe, at Man United and Sheffield United. So it's clearly not good enough. Now, again, one thing you always have to remember, and I always remember from when I used to play football, and my dad used to absolutely wallop me on a Saturday or Sunday morning after the game. Why am I not doing this? And he would be shouting at me on a touchline. But you know what? I was doing what the manager wanted me to do, which is why I kept playing, which is why I kept in the positions that I was and, played to a good level. So ultimately, I think sometimes we as fans need to remember Eddie Nketiah is doing exactly what Arteta wants him to do. We may not like it. We may not think he's good enough, but he's doing what the manager wants him to do. So I think for me, I think those two players, and I think when you come back to the whole squad, we have to give these players opportunities, because when it gets down to the end of the season, we're going to think, well, why are we not playing ESR? Why are we not playing X, Y, and Z? Because they're not ready to play. So we can't have it both ways. I think, as Tom so rightly said, 1 minute we want them to, we want the same players to come out of the team that are not playing well. Odegaard, for example, in some people's opinions. But then you want someone else to come in. So I just don't know where Arteta wins. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you want him to come out of the team? Yes. So then there's other players that are going to have to be rotated in. So we're not going to play with 10 men, are we? So I think, look, ultimately, those two players that you mentioned, especially Eddie Nketiah, he's got no excuses now. He's put in a great performance against Sheffield United. He shot from outside the box, which under Arsene Wenger, he would have been shot and fined and shot, either, whichever way you want to call it. And fair play to him. Like, as I said, it's never been anything other than his goals. As I said, last season, away from home against Spurs, he put in an absolutely fantastic performance and he didn't score. Held the ball up, linked up the play. Those are the things that I want to see. But when he puts in a performance like Spurs at home this season, that's where I lose it with him, because I know the quality he has got, but it's just too few and far between. Same thing for Jorginho. I think, he's coming, he's serviceable, but I don't trust him long term. And let's hope that he can he can put in a good performance, because I think West Ham are going to come with some real energy tomorrow. I think they really will.
Northside, interesting points from Lee. The only thing I will correct him on, I think he scored against Forest and Fulham this season, and then he got the hat-trick at Sheffield United. So he has got 5 goals. But unfortunately, the last time he scored for us in the league was back in January, Man United, in the new year, like 9 months ago. So with Eddie, you see that there's definitely inconsistencies. And where I won't get is when he's too excited when he scores a hat-trick Northside, and then it's all like, we don't now longer need a striker. For me, that's just silly for me. But your thoughts, man, on the squad depth? Because for you, I actually agree with you in terms of that we're still short. And I think we're short in a few areas. I don't think it's one player. I think we're short in about maybe 3 positions. So let me hear your thoughts on that, bro. And your thoughts on Eddie.
I think it's very simple. I don't think it's about having it both ways. At the end of the day, I criticize the money spent because Havertz is, to me, never a £65 million player. Now, even though I think Odegaard is part of the 3 that is our best midfield, players need to be held accountable. Yeah, you can have a player that plays well. I've liked Partey, but there's been times last season before that where he wasn't playing too well. You take him out of the squad. Now, luckily we've got Declan Rice. So at the same time, listen, there are certain players that I do like Saka, but he's not in form. So you drop him. This manager chose to go with Reece Nelson as an option. Get rid of Pepe. Well, then go with the player that you wanted. Go with the player you re-signed the contract to. Go with the player that you've selected to be our squad depth. Go with the midfield that we're putting in that everyone deemed as a light bench last season. Because this ain't really changed much from last season. Let's keep it real. Still got Nketiah as a backup. Yeah. Okay, you've got Havertz in there. Declan Rice has done very well. I like Declan Rice. Absolute baller. But other than that, it's not much has changed. He re-signed El Nene. He signed Jorginho. These are the options that were deemed as a light bench, which is why we didn't beat Man City. The bench ain't really been fixed. Yeah, I'm criticizing the players that are not playing in form. If a player, whether he's your best midfielder or best attacker or not, if he's not in form, then he has to eventually be dropped because he's not doing it consistently. Now he has to play the players that he's deemed comfortable enough and that has fixed the bench as now the players that come in. I don't believe they're good enough, but he has to, this manager has to back his process because he's been here how many years now? He spent how much money? How much money? He's even been backed when he went for Havertz. So back the players that you want. This ain't the bench that I wanted. This ain't the fixed bench that I would have selected. But now play the players that you want. Play the players that you believe in. I don't think that much has changed. I really don't. And that's just me being honest about it. Yeah, Tomiyasu have been somebody that's been very critical, but in recent games, he's been very, very good. I advocate for him to be in the team. So at the end of the day, you can't just, because he's our best player, but he's not performing, just keep playing him, keep playing him. At the end of the day, this season, Saka's looked burnt out. Yes, he's still turned up for us, but you can see that the levels have dropped. So go with your backup. And this is exactly why I didn't want somebody like Reece Nelson, because it doesn't really seem like he's that trusted. He's coming in for a couple of minutes. He ain't really doing the job, is he? So at the end of the day, bro, like, it ain't really been fixed, is it? We don't have anyone on the same level as Odegaard. Declan Rice and Partey we're yet to see, obviously, because of injuries. But when you're looking at Fabio Vieira, he wasn't that convincing last season. This season, he's become better off the bench as an impact sub than anything else. Havertz hasn't shown me anything differently. And it's not been that great. So, you know, defensively, we've looked decent. I think defensively, we stayed in the game against Man City, but our midfield and our attack isn't nowhere near as fluid as last season. We still don't have a gunman. We're going with Nketiah. It's more hope than anything else because stats don't lie. The guy's never been consistent. We deemed Lacazette not good enough. After 14 goals a season, we were happy to get rid of him. Nketiah's never reached that in his time at Arsenal. Nketiah's had I think his best was 10 goals in all competitions in a league campaign for Arsenal. There's a reason why he's not our main striker. He's not been clinical enough. And it's the same thing that we have with Jesus. I love Jesus. But overall, as a striker, which is the biggest metric you judge strikers on, the best strikers in the world, are the strikers we call world class, are the ones that are gunmen in front of goal. Nketiah is not that, and neither is Jesus. I like Jesus, but we needed a striker that offers us something different. So at the end of the day, listen, for me, I think people got short memories. We didn't deem a lot of these players now that we're rotating and we want them to come into the team and do a job and be informed. These were players that were deemed not good enough last season at the end of the season, which is the reason why we didn't win the league. Jorginho, another one. Do you know what I mean? But I don't mind saying it before it's popular to say it. I see with my eyes, I watch, and I can change my mind on certain players. I didn't like Ramsdale. Ramsdale showed me that he's a decent keeper. But I have to see consistency. There's a lot of players here that we are hoping will come good that haven't shown us much in the time that they've been here. So I can't just believe things on just under the just get behind him because he's an Arsenal player. He has to show me something to believe in, and then I'll get behind him. And like I said, I don't rate Fabio Vieira, but Fabio Vieira this season has shown me more than Havertz, which is why I advocate for him to be in the team. You know what I mean? So this is the accountability that I want. But it is what it is. I don't think we're as strong as we need to be. Saka's still being burnt out. There's certain players that I criticize also that I do like. You know, I've criticized Saka, Martinelli at times. Trossard, I think he did play very well when he come on against Sheffield United, but there's been a couple of games that he hasn't been too good at. So I keep it consistent. You know, if I see a player, whether I like you or not, you need to be, the level has to be up here. Let's not forget, a lot of Arsenal fans this season predicted us to win a major honour. Said that at the start of the season, the expectations to win a major honour. Well, then there's got to be accountability, not just from this manager, which I do criticize, but also from these players. So it is what it is. We're going now with a squad that I don't fully believe in terms of the bench. I don't fully believe they're up to the level to win a major honour. But at the end of the day, some of the starting lineup players or the favourites are not performing. So it is, isn't it? We have to go with what we have.
Tom, your thoughts on what Northside said there in relation to a fixed bench? There's difference between numbers and there's difference between quality as far as I'm concerned. We've definitely got numbers. Whether those numbers are quality enough and if the drop-off isn't that much, that for me is the concern and a question mark. So what do you make to what Northside's been saying, bro?
Yeah, I don't think I've gone on record certainly and said that the bench is fixed. To me, fixed is an interesting term because I think it's about how can you ever say a squad is fixed until it's top of the table? That's the fixed squad, a squad that is winning on all fronts. I think for me, it's about getting as close to and matching City, and that would be what I think I would define as fixed in terms of a squad. And we're not. There is a gap between us and City right now, still in terms of squad. I think that what we did in the summer did work to get us closer, and sadly one of the massive things that we did in the summer has been ripped away from us in Julian Timber's injury. That injury is such a blow because especially in defence and what that offered us. I mean, you can tell by the amount of games he started in pre-season. He started against Man City in the Community Shield, that the intent of what he was going to come in to do into this team, whether Zinchenko was fit or not. And I personally don't think that there was a better option that we could have signed for that profile. We went out and got the number one option on the market for that position. And that's the type of, and I think that, I think you'd be hard pressed to find someone that disagree with the idea that's the type of profile that Arsenal should be going for to add strength and depth and quality is somebody like Julian Timber. Havertz, I can't disagree with Northside on Havertz. I want to see more. He's disappointed so far. And until he starts to show a lot more, there's going to be concerns, and fans have the right to be concerned about that signing, especially when an alternative, Dan, that I know that you've pined for a long time, has gone to our rivals and is absolutely, battering the league as well, and for a lot less money. So fans have a right to be frustrated about that. And, another option in Szoboszlai has gone to Liverpool and looked brilliant for them. There were
Tom, you know
alternatives.
what's funny is that I wanted Maddison, you wanted Szoboszlai, and they're both
I know we did. We ended up with Havertz, so there you go. Look, I do think that I do think that we.
Your sound's gone quiet, Tom. Your sound's gone quiet. I don't know why.
Is it back now?
That's better, bro. That's
Is
better.
that back? It might cut out in a second. I don't know. We'll see. I do think that it means I've gone too loud. I think that's what the microphone's telling me. I need to calm down. But I think with the way in which we're at with this squad, it's gone again, hasn't it? It's definitely gone.
Yeah.
Switch person, and I'll sort this out.
No worries, bro. Prems, let me come to you, man, while we sort audio issues out. I think West Ham are going to take this seriously tomorrow. So I think this is going to be tough. And I think if we're not careful and we do go a bit mad and we start seeing Cedrics and Nelsons and Smith Rose and Eddie Havertz, we start throwing them all in. I think West Ham are kind of hoping that we do that. So that's why, for me, I don't mind making 3 or 4 changes. I don't mind Tomiyasu coming in. I don't mind Smith Rowe starting or even Fabio Vieira, but I don't want to see too much different to that, because I think West Ham will look at that and go, right, where are we at? We're 9th in the league. We're top of our Europa League group. The only other thing we've got right now is this Carabao Cup that Man City are out of. We could actually go quite far here with a favourable draw. So I don't think they're going to go play the kids and just rock up and see what happens. I actually think West Ham might fancy himself at home. So I think we got to be careful of this one, Prems.
Nah, we 100% got to be careful, because they've only just been beat very recently as well. They're a bit of a wounded animal. They've not really felt defeat this season many times before, so they're going to really want to bounce back. And you got to give David Moyes credit for the job that he's done at West Ham as well. And they've lost their best player in Declan Rice to us, so that's going to spice things up a little bit as well. I don't know whether he'll start or not, Declan Rice. I think he will, to be honest with you. But obviously, Arteta's pretty unpredictable at the moment when it comes to fixtures like this. So we're going to have to wait and see. But if we go and we change 8-9 players in the team, we'll definitely get beat. I don't think our second string is strong enough to deal with West Ham's first team. That's my honest opinion. And we just got to take it serious. Like you said, 3-4 changes, give a few players some minutes in the legs. If we end up going 70, 80 minutes to 3-0 up or whatever the weather, change it up, add a few more fresh legs on, and give some other players some minutes in the legs.
Yeah, man. Listen, I'll come back to Tom in a minute. Lee, I've got to ask you, man, like, for me, out of the 3 games, I do think this is an important one. And people will look at Seville and they'll look at Newcastle as more important. But I actually think we can take all 3 of these games seriously, man. And I think we're in a position where, yeah, Timber and Partey and Jesus are out, but we should, with the squad that we've got, even if you think it's not strong enough, I think we should be okay with these 3 competitions. Because for me, mate, I know that we're talking about maybe we've got concerns over Jorginho, Eddie. I'm talking about that consistently for a title. But in a one-off game against West Ham, we probably will make some changes as well. I think we've got to be all right with this one, Lee, man.
Yeah, I'm confident for tomorrow. I think that we should do the job. This is the same second team, however you want to look at it, that went to Brentford's first team and beat them. I feel like the squad is good enough. I don't feel like it's not. I think when you add Partey and, as Tom said, Timber in there as well, I think that makes such a big difference to the squad straight away, because you then have the option of Zinchenko possibly going into the midfield as well, which makes a difference there. So I think, when people look at it, I do think it's a bit better. I think players like Reece Nelson, they do need to have a bit more of a chance, but that's on the manager for whatever reason. But it's a tough one, because, as I said, for me, the most important thing is you want players to get an opportunity. This is the game where you get to give them opportunity. You're not going to give them that opportunity in the league. We all know that. So you need to see something first, or in training, for them to actually say, do you know what, I can put them into a game and trust them. So I think some of the players like Reece Nelson, it's difficult because he might be coming in cold, but you also know that he needs to step up, and I think he can. He showed against Brentford. That was a fantastic performance away from home. Tom Yasu, he's shown that he's good enough. Kivior, he's shown that he can come in. So I think people are a little bit too negative and down on some of the second team players that can come in and do a job. For Arsenal, I think but listen, I think overall, there's nowhere on this earth Arteta's making 4 or 5 changes. It's just not going to happen. He is going to keep a strong team. He is for sure going to keep a strong team. And I'm not actually that fussed. I think Arteta's always said, and there was a famous quote by him saying like that the top players need to learn to play 60, 70 games in a season. This is just another one of those games. If you look at being a top player, you have to play most of the games. Mo Salah, if you want to get to those levels, if you want to get to Haaland's levels, if you want to get to Mane when he was in the league, I can keep going on and on and on. They played every single game. Ronaldo, machine, played every single game. Copa del Rey, etc., etc. So I don't see them making big changes, and I think we have more than enough to beat West Ham tomorrow. I think Newcastle will help the fact that they've got quite a few injuries as well. So we should go in there and actually impose ourselves on the game. They're missing players like Isak, a couple of defenders, midfielders. They're a bit all over the place. And then I think lastly, you go to the Champions League game, home, that takes care of itself. I think Seville overrated. They're not a good team at all. So yeah, I'm not that worried. I think people are kind of making just hatching their chickens a little bit too early, but we'll see.
Yeah, we will see, man. Before I come to Northside, Tom, hopefully your mic's okay now. I wanted to ask
testing. Are we back?
Yeah, it's cool, man. Salvatore in the chat has said, "How can they step up without game time?" And he's saying about rotating and stuff like that. So let me ask you, man. You're the manager tomorrow night. That would be fun, wouldn't it, Tom?
You'd love that.
I would date that. Let me tell you that now. You get to pick the side, bro. What side you going with, man? Talk to me.
I think Lee might be a little bit surprised actually of how many changes you're going to see tomorrow. I think we are going to make some changes. Obviously, Ramsdale come in, so that's one. I think.
I mean, outfield. I feel outfield. Sorry, I don't think more than like 3 or 4 changes. I don't see that, but. Personally.
I guess that because obviously we played a few rotational options at the weekend as well. It may not be too many compared to the weekend, but if you compare it to maybe our best 11, there might be a few more. It was interesting what Arteta said about Rice in his presser today. Saying it's likely that we might see him. So from that, you probably assume that he's going to start. I think he'll probably start alongside the likes of Smith Rowe. I think Odegaard will still be out because he's got this carrying this injury. I think that's the one thing that we've not really touched upon this show, that Odegaard is carrying their hip injury. He's been carrying it for a while now.
What is that all about then? What is that all about? It's like that to me is weird. Like he's been playing.
Yeah,
is that like I do
play with pain all the time. It's part and parcel.
I wonder if sometimes this is like because he's not had the best. Are we now saying like, oh, maybe it's because he's got an injury? Like, do you know what I mean?
It's not just Arteta. I spoke to Bukayo Saka after the game against Sheffield United, and he brought it up as well. And he talked very honestly about Odegaard's injury, saying that he'd been playing with some pain. So, no, it's certainly a thing, and I think that is an explanation potentially for what we've been seeing from in the last few weeks. But as you say, and as Northside pointed out, the depth behind, the gap between Odegaard and what's behind him, there is a significant gap. So, Arteta's felt that if he can play through this pain, it's worth playing him. I think clearly that we've maybe seen that it wasn't necessarily all the time, and we've made the decision now to rest him. And I think he will be rested again tomorrow. So I think Vieira will get a chance to come in now, depending on, of course, if he's back from the birth of his child as well, which is a factor. And we've got a front line, which I think you'll see Eddie and Nketiah probably continue, but I think Trossard will come in to that front line. You might even see Vieira play on the right, because if Arteta wants to continue with a left footer playing on the right, Vieira is the obvious choice at the moment with Jesus out to rotate. So you may see Vieira come into the front 3. But yeah, I think you will see changes. Kivior, I think, will continue after the weekend. I think Gabriel comes back in because he was obviously rested at the weekend as well. They might choose to rest Saliba. But yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Because the depth in the defence isn't too strong because Timber being out. We've only got 6 defenders plus Cedric. And I don't really count Cedric. I don't think any of us really do count Cedric. We have 6 defenders.
That guy's still here. He is nicking a living.
Yeah, man. I know, man. And honestly, if you knew his wage, you'd cry. But
what's his wage? What's his wage?
You're looking at £90,000 to £100,000 per week. I think it's in that bracket.
Oh my god, I didn't know it was that much.
I think it's in that bracket.
Cedric is on 100k a week.
Don't
The,
quote
the
me,
thing
but
what I don't get
it's
as
in
well,
that
I find quite funny is why would anybody want to get a player like Odegaard? He's not good enough to be the captain. He's not good enough for Arsenal. That was what I heard 7 days ago. I heard everyone saying that he's not good enough now, and he's not worthy to be Arsenal player because he doesn't turn up in the big games. So why now does the drop off from Odegaard to anyone else? It doesn't matter, right? Like just get him out of the team. I
He
mean,
said this.
That's listen. That was what I was hearing last week and all this week. I've
Don't
been
like
hearing
names. Don't like names.
Say some names, fam, because I'm an
Odegaard
Odegaard fan.
He knows what he's doing, Lee. He's cheeky, man.
He's not the Arsenal captain anymore. He's never been good enough, and he's just here stealing a living with Cedric. So I don't know. Like, get him at the club as well, right?
I want to know names, fam.
Listen, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I'm just. That's what I. That's what I remember. I heard that
In all
people
honesty, in all honesty, let's just keep it real, bro. Yeah, the drop off from Odegaard to the bench is not. It is not close. Yeah, but Odegaard, for all this hype behind Odegaard, let's keep it real. I've seen this guy struggle. Yeah, when you put a man on him, when he's pressed, when he's not. Odegaard looks very good on the ball when he's allowed the space and he can do whatever he wants. A lot of times, this guy plays it very safe. Yeah, and I've seen Ozil at this club get criticism. One thing I saw about Ozil that I ain't seen so much against Odegaard, I've seen Ozil at times when the going's getting tough. He finds Alexis Sanchez. He plays that ball through the eye of the needle. And there's a job that a number 10 has to do. You're not playing a number 6 and you're not a CDM. I've seen Declan Rice show up Odegaard this season. Yeah, I've seen Declan Rice could have had a brace against Man City, making great runs into the box. Yeah, assisting the front three. That is the job of the number 10. You're there to assist and to score goals, but you're supposed to be supplying the front three. We've not seen that. We've seen at times when he's pressed, it's all great when the team sit back, but as soon as they're pressing us or trying to hit us on the counter, we're losing the midfield battle. I've not seen Odegaard drag us through. Yeah, let's just keep it real at Arsenal. Let's just call it for what it is. Doesn't mean that he's completely trash. It's just he's not as great sometimes as the way people exaggerate it. The same thing with Nketiah. At times, yeah, we want to see things and everything's great at us, everything's great. They said this last season, everything was great, top of the league. Let's keep it real. There was holes in this bench, and people like me, I criticized it at the end of the season. I was right. I've been saying about Odegaard, I ain't saying he's trash, but he ain't up, bro. I've seen, and then I wanted Maddison, yeah, because I saw Maddison. Bro, look at the way he was playing in the Leicester. I've seen him.
Where was Maddison in the Ballon d'Or list? I didn't see him there, yesterday. I
seen Maddison ball out in the Leicester team that was good and bad.
Where was he in the Ballon d'Or list? I didn't see him. Someone tell me. I saw Odegaard. I saw the captain. So where's Maddison?
Bro, I've seen Thierry Henry not win a Ballon d'Or, yeah? And the year that he should have won it. So let's not go on like these awards.
I'm just saying, I saw Ballon d'Or list yesterday with Odegaard.
Uncomfortable conversations. Thierry Henry should have won it. It wasn't it Nedved that won it.
Yeah, that was a joke that year, man.
That was a joke. Let's not go on like these awards are always legit in the way they do. Come on, yeah? You know what I'm saying? So come on, bro. Like at the end of the day, yeah, if you love the club, 20 years, yeah, I've not seen my club win major honors, bro. When I grew up watching this club win major honors, like let's hold this club to a high standard because the money is spent, bro. You know what I'm saying? They're always coming out with new merch. They're always charging the ticket prices. I remember one season they went up 5% 2 times in 1 year. You know what I'm saying? It's premium prices all round. We need to start winning. Like, we need to start winning. 20 years is way too long. You know what I'm saying? How long did it take Liverpool? Like, we've dropped the standard for too long, man. Do you know what I'm saying? My annoyance is more with this club, yeah, and selling me a dream when I first started it to what it is now. Not that I expect us to always win. We should be competing. Do you know what I'm saying? How many years did we need a CDM if we didn't go out there and get it? We needed a striker. But we could have won the league against Leicester, and we were told, there's no quality in the transfer window. We just got Peter Cech.
So why are you not happy now? We're competing
thank
now.
God we brought a manager that did that.
You can criticize, you can be happy with certain things, and you can also criticize. Everything doesn't have to completely be doom and gloom because there are things I like, but there's a lot of things I don't like. Within Project Phase 4, this football that we're seeing this season looks like Phase 1 football, very similar. And when it was Phase 1, he needs his players, he needs time, he needs this. Well, he's got all of that. He's been backed even with Havertz. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, like, I'm expecting more, bro. I am expecting more, and the expectation's got to be high. And the expectation from the fan base at the start of the season, the majority of the ones, and I got the receipts on my channel, was we need to win major honors, which I agree. So let's keep that standard. We shouldn't just have. Look how crazy it was, yeah. When Saka was out, we're putting Jesus out on the right, and we're playing Nketiah through the middle. That's just one injury. We shouldn't be in that position 4 years into a process.
That game.
We shouldn't be in that kind of situation. Let's keep it real. 4 years.
Yes,
4 years in. Do you know what I'm saying? Odegaard, what are we going to do if
What was
Odegaard's
that? I
in?
didn't hear what Tom said.
No, just like you said, we were one injury away and we put Jesus on the right and Nketiah through the middle. Can you tell me what the result of that game was?
There you go. Come on. Just give him the
Arsenal
haymaker.
won, treble winners, Manchester
no
City
haymaker.
0 was what it
There's
was.
no helpmaker. We weren't convincing in that game. We wasn't
Didn't
convincing.
need to be. We were tactically perfect, mate, and played them off the park in a sense of how you beat them.
Listen, we were very
didn't need
convincing.
we didn't need to batter Man City, mate. We did what we did, and Arteta got it perfect.
Yeah, that's what they said last season when we had the fluidity and we had the bench that everyone said, it was 10 out of 10 transfer window in January. What happened? We bottled it. Why? Because of lack of hindsight.
There's nothing fluid about what we did against City. I don't agree with you there.
Last season. Remember? Throw all the competitions away. You only had one competition to focus on the Premier League, and it was the same bench and roughly the same squad. What happened? Because we had
lost Saliba and Tomiyasu in one game and it fell apart. Yeah.
We can't do it this season because you can't throw away the Champions League and play bigger fish.
I think even that's unfair to say. Again, I know we're going off topic, but I feel like people go crazy.
This is great.
With the whole, like we threw away. We didn't throw away Europa League. It was a poor game, but we put out a strong team. And we had Ramsdale in goal. We had our strongest team. And as you said, you lost our players in that game. And then we lost the game on penalties. We didn't bloody get battered 3-0 and have our B team out. So I think people go crazy with that as well. But listen, I don't want to kind of move away from the topic of what.
I don't know, Lee, but for me, you don't need to bring that game up, because that's the day I proposed, and that fucking ruined my mood. I was watching the game before I proposed, you know what I mean? I was sitting there, bro. I was vexed. I don't want to hear about that game.
Listen, but listen, I just think, look, like ultimately, well, I'm sure Tom's going to carry on, but I just think we shouldn't go too crazy on, squads and all these things. I think we're competing. That's what you said, Nusad. You said you just want to see your team compete. We're at the top of the league or near the top of the league.
No, it's not.
Okay, but you said
it's time to win.
You did say it is, but you said you want to see your team compete, and we're competing, right? So you got to be happier.
No, I ain't got to be happier because last season we had the fluidity, the same team that everyone's majority. I'm not saying you guys said it. The majority said that it's fixed. Yeah, and did we win anything? And last season we had.
Who are you listening to though? Like I don't like you say like.
I listen to the.
Okay, so you're okay. So the chat box. I don't know if that's like a fair sample size. You know what I mean? I don't doubt it.
So this is what I'm saying. All I'm saying is everyone's telling me to just get behind it. They told me this last season, and I could see holes. Everyone said just shut up, be happy. But last season we're saying, but we haven't seen this team be fluid this season. We haven't seen this team reach top gear. We had that last season, and last season we had one less competition. We got two competitions we've got to prioritize. We can't say bigger fish to fry for Champions League, and we can't say in the Premier League. And this team could only get second last season with practically the same squad. What are we going to do this season with the football looking worse and near enough the same bench?
Why do you think it is worse? Why do you think?
When it's too late? I've seen this club for 20 years be reactive instead of proactive. Let's just keep it real.
Why do you think the football is worse? Northside, just out of like you say, it's worse. Why is it worse?
We've not replaced Granit Xhaka. What Granit Xhaka did, I think it's misprofile of a player in getting Havertz to do that job. We've accommodated way too much for him. Also, I don't believe for all Zinchenko gives us, I still think he's a liability at left back because ultimately he's playing as a defender. I'd rather him as a midfielder. We don't have rotation for Saka. I think before he got injured, it was almost 90 games. Yeah, almost 90 games. So we're not surprised that Saka's burnt out. And ultimately, this whole control that he's trying to play, this whole control and hit them on the break, I don't think we've got the players to play for that. When you look at Simeone, you look at Conte, you look at managers like that, when they play this control style of football and hitting teams on the counter-attack, they always have a gunman up front. Diego Costa, Benzema. Lukaku wasn't a gunman here, but he was in Italy. They've got strikers that are going to guarantee them a lot of goals. We don't have that. We love Jesus, but he's not a gunman. And neither is Nketiah. We're hoping with Nketiah. So I don't really feel like we've improved that much. There have been improvements in terms of rotation for Rice, just the same way we saw last season rotation for Martinelli. But we're not looking cohesive. The players look confused. They don't look fluid like last season. Last season was very fluid and fast. And I wanted improvements off of last season. I wanted a couple more signings, and I wanted the football to stay there enough the same, but I wanted better personnel and a better bench. And I don't see that now. We sit back a lot. Our defense looks pretty solid. but we're not connecting well from defense to attack, bro. You bring up the Man City game, we
Yeah.
didn't their goal, and yes, we
didn't need to.
We didn't need to.
We tried to. We tried to do it the last few times we played them. We tried to pepper them. You think about that New Year's Day game where we absolutely played them off the park in the first half, right? We battered them. We were 1-0 up going into half time. Second half, that continued. We tried and played the same way, and eventually mistakes got the better of us. Errors were made. Gabriel got sent off. Xhaka gave that penalty away. We missed an open goal through Martinelli. We tried to play them off the park that day, and we got punished. And so this time, Arteta thought, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try and tactically assess what is the best way to beat Man City. And it's not to try and play them at their own game. It's not try and pepper their goal. You know, it's a team that's going to frustrate them. It's a team that stays in the game for as long as feasibly possible and then takes the clear chance when it comes along. I agree with you in the sense that, you know, we've not necessarily replaced Granit Xhaka to a degree. But what I would say is that if Partey and Rice were starting every single game this season, we would have probably seen a bigger output. I don't think there's many people in the chat box or in this panel that would say that Partey and Rice is a worse combination than Partey and Xhaka, because I think that Partey and Rice is an outstanding partnership that I wish we had available to us all season. You know, we got rid of Xhaka. We did technically replace him in a way and actually upgraded on him by bringing in Rice, because when those two played together in that Community Shield game, whether we thought it was a friendly or whatever, Man City didn't come to lose that game. They came to try and win the Community Shield, and we beat them that day with Partey and Rice in that team. So I think that what we did in the midfield, obviously, is improve things there. What I want to see and what I wanted to see, obviously, was with the Timber, but I don't want to get bogged down in Timber because he's not here, so let's not talk about that. I think that there is all this talk about fluidity and how we're playing. We scored more goals last season than we've ever scored in the Premier League, 88 goals. We're 1 goal worse off this season now than we were last season at the same stage, and yet we've had a far worse start. We've played 4 of the 5 big 5 teams outside the top 6 in that first 9 games. We've only just played 1 of the promoted teams as well, and we've had significant injuries affecting our starting lineup all the way through, and yet we're still joint on points with Manchester City, and yet we're still only 2 points off the top of the luckiest Spurs team you'll ever see in your life. And I can't quite get my head around the idea that we're trying to, as you say, like we're sitting back or we're trying to hit on the... I don't think we're doing that at all. I think the Man City game, we were more tactical, sure, but I think in every single other game we've played bar Spurs, we've deserved to win in the league. And I think that's come from us playing offensively. I think that's come from trying to attack the opposition. It's not been crisp and fluid, as we might say, but it's intent. The intent is to attack. The intent is to dominate. The intent is to control. So I do disagree.
Do you think, Tom, that this style of play that we've seen is got more chance of winning the league than the last year's style of play? Because it has been different, hasn't it, this season in terms of the style? I think
we lost both times to Man City last season, and so you lose the league. If you want to win the league, you got to beat City. You can't lose both times, you know? So we've changed the way that we've played to become more malleable, become more changeable, so that we're not doing the same thing in every single game. So we're not predictable. So teams don't know what they're going to come up against. And so that's what we've got to do. And that's why you're seeing a lack of connectivity, a lack of understanding at times, because this team and squad is still learning to try and change. I think Arteta has mentioned in one of his press conferences, there was something like 40 different formations. Do you remember him saying that? There was like 44 different structures. And whilst, you know,
bringing motorways into it, you can bring
that analogy was dreadful.
What the hell is going on, man?
But he's right in the sense that we are playing with different levels of structures in different games. And if we did what we did last season, a lot of fans want us to go back to not Partey playing at right back. And, you know, I wasn't a big fan of that, but the stats will tell you that we were still moving towards something quite interesting. I'm glad we went back to Ben White at right back, because I think Ben White's an excellent right back. But the argument is that this season, if we did what we did last season, you're standing still. And if you stand still, the world doesn't wait for you. You know, the other teams get better, the other teams improve. And if you stand still, you're going to get left behind. So we had to change. We had to evolve. And that's why in that Man City game, we didn't play like we played against Man City in previous seasons. We played in a completely different way that was more mature and more savvy. And that's why we came out of a win. So yes, I do think, Dan, that playing the way that we played this season, when we gradually learn and refine it, if you think about City starting the way they did last season, they were tinkering and they dropped points. We're tinkering and we've dropped some points. But we've also won some big games. And also we've kept on going into the end in games where people thought we were beat like Chelsea and we weren't. And I think that that's really key, that we're still unbeaten and we're still on this momentum. Now, we could lose and get battered by Newcastle and suddenly the conversation changes, because that's football and we change our views as the wind changes sometimes. But at the moment where we speak as this moment in time, things are going in a really good direction for Arsenal.
Mm. Listen, before I go for the predictions for this game, I want to just ask one question to the panel. I'll give everyone a chance to answer it. Prems, let's start with you, bro, because I actually don't know the answer to this, man. Where are you right now on Mikel Arteta? Like, where are you standing right now? Because you and I have been very similar, man, and we've been up and down at times and chatting to each other. Like, what are you saying, bro? Because it's been up and down at times. But talk to me where you're at right now, what you're seeing so far, and obviously take into account your feelings from before, bro.
Do you know, at the start, I didn't really know what to expect of Arteta because we had nothing to go off. You know what I mean? It was his first managerial job. And because we've been through so much pain over the last, 16, 17 years prior to that we just wanted change immediately because we've seen Wenger keep getting top four. We weren't really winning any of the trophies or competing on any front really in the Premier League or the Champions League or whatever competition we was in. Yeah, a few FA Cups here and there. So we wanted change. Then obviously we had Unai Emery for a little bit and that didn't quite work out, even though I did think Unai Emery did decent in his first season, to be honest with you. I think he went on a run of 22 unbeaten 22 games unbeaten at the start. And then he took us to a final of a Europa League. Even though we did get beaten that, he still got us there. Then Arteta's come in. There's nothing to really look back at. Finishes 8th twice. I'm not having that. You get me? I'm thinking I don't see no progression. I couldn't really see what he was doing. But as of last season, I took a little bit of a step back and looked and thought, as an Arsenal fan, what do I want? I want to see my team challenge for the league. Whether we win it or not, that's another question because, like I always say, we got no divine right to win it. We got to go out there and win it if we want to win it. So he's brought us back to challenging. This season, now he's got to win something. Otherwise, there is going to be a pressure on his head and people are going to be asking questions because simply he spent quite a bit of money. He's got Arsenal back to challenging at the top. A lot of hype around us now. The fans are believing again. He's got to deliver something 4 years in. That's how I see it at the moment. If he doesn't win the league, you got to take context of how he doesn't win it. If he doesn't win Champions League or we don't win any of the cups, you got to take context out of it and then potentially have a look and see who is around. Because if we did want to move on from Arteta, we got a perfect crop of players, in my opinion, young talent that could potentially become world class. Maybe somebody else can take the reins that's got a little bit more experience and we don't waste this, say, golden generation that we might have in the team.
Fair play, man. Let's leave Tom and Northside to last because I think it could be an interesting one. Good, Lee. Let me come
It's
to
all
you,
love,
bro.
Dan. It's all love.
Lee, because Lee, fair, like real talk, bro. You was like not sure only a couple of weeks ago about where we were going and a couple of things that Arteta was doing in terms of the Havertz thing and the Ramsdale thing and the party at right back. So, where are you at, bro?
Yeah, listen, like I'm always gonna, say what I see, and I see a team that, and I keep saying, I just think people just don't like where we are now because what they saw last season. But I keep trying to explain to people, no 2 seasons are ever the same. So when I look at it objectively, I think the Fulham game, I think we were poor. I think that was the worst game. Crystal Palace, I thought we were very, very good. I think Spurs, I feel like even the Spurs game, I feel like it was overrated how poorly we were. I don't feel like we were that bad. And we were 2-1 up and we were 1-0 up as well. So I feel like we should have seen that game home. I think, as I said, the worst game was Crystal Palace, but I'm sorry, I thought the worst game was Fulham. But for me, look, I'm not going to sit here and say that Arteta's doing a bad job. I think, as I said, football and things, for me, I don't look at it very black and white. I feel like there's so many colours in between. And when you look at what Arteta's done and what he's doing, I don't think that you can say to any manager just because they don't win that they need to be sacked or they've done a bad job or they've failed. I just don't look at it like that. So I think money plays a factor into it. But if that was the case, Pochettino should be winning straight away. Man United should be winning everything. Man City should be winning absolutely. But there's 5 teams I've just said. You can't win everything. So it's not going to happen like that. So for me, look, as I said, I'm all right with Arteta right now. I don't agree with all these decisions, but how can I sit there and complain? I didn't like the team before Sheffield United, and they won 5-0. Yes, it's Sheffield United, but that was a good performance, and Eddie scored goals. So yeah, man, I'm just gonna I'm taking it for what it is. I'm not gonna do the whole, well, yeah, this week they've done well, so I'm gonna jump on them. I'm gonna try and back the players. As I said, the one problem for me is Havertz. I just think he needs to show a little bit more. And Premsy, he was right from the get-go. I tried to be a bit more optimistic on it, and it's looking very poor right now. But let's see.
We will see. Before I come to Northside and Tom to close the show, make sure you do us a favor, guys, because there's creeping up to 400 people live, and I haven't hit 100 likes yet, man. What's going on? Come on, let's get us up to 200 likes, people. All you got to do is click a button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you do me a favor and go and follow these guys. All of them put out daily content, and it's all top class content at that. So make sure you go support them and them as well. Listen, Northside, let's come to you and then we'll let Tom come back. So I think you and him probably quite different opinions on this, but I might be wrong. Where do you sit right now, bruv?
Win a major honour or sack him. Simple as that. That's the objective, isn't it? Otherwise, why have we got trophies? Why do we say we're bigger than Tottenham? About trophies, isn't it? We judge clubs about trophies. When we rate players, we talk about their trophies. It's about trophies. If people don't like it, go to the cinema. There's other form of entertainment where it's not competitive. If that's what people don't like, then there's other forms. Sport is competitive. The essence of sport is to win. That's why you've got trophies, medals. It's not changed because people now there's Twitter and people get scared to get clowned. I don't want people to clown me and my team. Listen, it is what it is, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's time to deliver. It's time to win now. I'm not hearing anything else like that. We don't even talk about the ownership anymore. Do you remember when we used to put our Kroenke out? We didn't hear Kroenke out. Kroenke's been backing this manager, been giving him money, patience, time. Premsy was right. Should have got sacked when he was 8th because we were already finished with Wenger. You know what I mean? Because we were tired of just getting top 4. We were tired. So I don't forget the past because when you forget the past, you'll repeat it in the future. Arsenal's always been reactionary instead of proactive. And this is why there's always a big meltdown at the end of every season since 04, because we're not reactionary. We don't hold this club accountable the way they should be. We allow them to just do whatever they want, charge us whatever they want. End of the day, yeah, I'm not hearing any of it. This manager's made what? Closing in 20 signings? This is his team. He won the battle against Ozil, won the battle against Aubameyang. He's won his battle. He's won his battle. What was that?
That was me.
You're watching videos, Lee. You're not listening.
No, I am. But it's like just my missus sent me something, and then well,
it could have been a lot worse, to be fair. You think you got away with it.
But that was a Hadouken. I was like, yo, what's going on? But anyway, yeah, this manager's been backed, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just keep it real. So for me, listen. I hear what Tom was saying about certain games you have to approach a certain way. Yes, I agree, but there has to be balance. There has to be balance in how you approach every game. For me, turning up for only what? We only turned up after 70 minutes against Chelsea. Doesn't convince me. The first half against Sheffield United, shocking. And this is after phase 4. Closing in on £700 million spent. I'm sorry, I can't excuse that. I'm not impressed. I'm really not. And for me, you've got to win a major honour. And it is what it is, isn't it? At the end of the day, when can we start demanding success here at this football club? When can we demand success? Because when Arsenal fans always talk about their most proud moment as a fan is yours gold. That was a winning season. So why can't we continue to win and have that expectation? Why is it negative or toxic? It's not negative or toxic. We're a major club. When you want to be a big club, the way we want this club to be viewed as a big club, which it is, there's high expectations. It comes along with it. It's like having fame and then complaining the paparazzi around you. That's what comes with fame. You're going to get the paparazzi. So we want to be a big club. We have to have big standards. No more excuses. Yeah, go out there and do what needs to be done. And the fact that the bench ain't fixed, that ain't my problem. This manager decided to do that. So you've got your bench, you've got your squad. Go out there and deliver me a major honour now. I'm not hearing it. I don't see any Arsenal fans big up nearly men, but yet this nearly man is always lauded up as, oh, we have to just keep backing Arteta. I didn't see no Arsenal fan crying when Brendan Rodgers got sacked or when Pochettino was a nearly man. They don't rate these managers. So why do I got to rate Arteta? Who is Arteta? We got rid of Wenger. Wenger's more a legend than Arteta. I couldn't care less about who the manager is or who the players are. I care about this football club and what's the best for this football club. If Arteta's not the man, go get me the man. That's it. It's not nothing personal. And it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So let's not forget why we were tired of Wenger. And let's continue with that standard and not move the goalpost for Arteta. It's time to win now. We're fed up of not winning major honours under the last 10 years of Wenger. So we got rid of Wenger to start competing and winning these major honours. This manager needs to get over the line. That's it. And if people don't like it, can care less. It is what it is, isn't it?
If you got rid of him, who would you want to see employed Northside?
Well, we won in Europe with 1-0 to the Arsenal, innit? George Graham. I wouldn't mind a Simeone. I think he's somebody that I think he's a manager that's when you look at the system at Arsenal, when you look at what he faces in La Liga, he hasn't got the most money in La Liga. Barcelona and Real Madrid do. And he's still able to compete. He doesn't dominate. I don't think anyone's going to dominate with Pep, but you can still win major honours. I've seen Conte win a major honour while Pep's here. Do you know what I'm saying? So I do think you can still win and compete. And I think for the circumstance, going from Atleti to Arsenal is very similar. You know, not the biggest wage bill. You know,
I just ask you, Northside, just one point. You just complained for like 5 minutes about Arsenal not playing football, but you want Simeone. You've been saying that we don't play good football, but
okay, it's very easy to explain that. This manager's not learned to play this football. He learned under Pep. He's not learned to play this style of football, and he's not actually implemented all the tools needed to play the system, which is why I said Simeone had a gunman. Mourinho had a gunman. These managers had a gunman. The prime thing you need to play this style of football that we see, that you call controlled football, he doesn't have. So this is why I don't believe in him. He's not been taught to play this type of football. He's implemented it this season. And even the players look a bit confused playing this football, which is why we're struggling to connect defense to attack. And the midfield look lost and the attack look lost. So that's why I don't believe it with this manager. But get me a manager that knows how to win under this system, under these restrictions, that we're not the richest club, we're not the poorest. Simeone is a great manager. And I don't understand how people can snuff at Simeone that's got a CV that this manager can only dream of. But yet Arteta is the solution. Arteta's never done anything. And the criticism that's lauded up to Lampard and Ole was, oh, well, they've never done it and this, and that. Arsenal fans weren't bigging him up. So why are we bigging up Arteta? Arteta's never done anything. Ole got second with Man United. The highest this manager's got us is second. He's not won any major honour, bro. Do you know what I'm saying?
The FA Cup not a major honour to you?
Well, did it say Wenger's job?
No. Just a quick question. You say like you want him to win a major honour, so I'm assuming if he was to win,
no, and that's why I didn't say Wenger's job.
Okay, fair enough. I think if people listen to what you just said there and then rewind to the start of the show where you talk about we need to take the Carabao Cup seriously and then say you don't count the FA Cup as a major honour, I think there's a contradiction there.
No, not really. I said I want to win trophies, and it's about winning trophies. A major
if it's not a major honour and he wins it and doesn't win the Premier League. I assume the Premier League and the Champions League are the two competitions you'd say are major honours.
Me correctly. I said I'd rather win a trophy. You want to be in a raffle to get in the Champions League, which we've never taken seriously since we've been in it. Let's keep it real. We've never taken it seriously.
You just said you don't count it as a major honour, so why would you care if you won it or not?
That's what I'm saying. A major honour is expected when you're here for 4 years and spend the money that this manager spent. Yeah, which is more money than Wenger used to spend. I know it's different times for inflation, but at the end of the day, a major honour is because he's been given the time and money. Yeah, so I expect him to be winning the Premier League and the Champions League, and the majority of this fan base agree because their prediction at the start of the season was exactly in line. But I'd rather win a trophy than just get top 4.
Who is your favourite for the Premier League this season, Offside?
Huh?
Who is your favourite for the Premier League this season?
Man City.
So you expect him to win a competition that you didn't make him favourite for?
Well, was we favourites under Fergie? Did we not get over the line? Fergie was a better
I think there were some seasons Arsenal were favourites under Arsene Wenger.
Okay,
yeah.
But we've never won it. Wenger won it 3 times. This manager's not won it.
Right,
ever.
but we're talking about 2023, and your favourite is Manchester City. Who's your favourite for the Champions League?
Champions League, I'll probably go with Madrid.
Okay, who would be your second favourite for the Champions League?
Second favourite, what would I go with?
City.
City
or Bayern? City or Bayern? Bayern.
Well, I still go with City.
I guess you might put Bayern third, right? As maybe,
yeah.
Yeah. So, and from your comments about the League Cup and the FA Cup, you don't count those major honours. So from that, we can conclude that the only major honours that exist are the Premier League and the Champions League. Have I got that right? Yeah.
Yeah, because this manager doesn't do what needs to be done. Just because I don't believe in it doesn't mean he shouldn't be winning it. There's two different things.
If he doesn't win the major honours that you have, which are the Premier League and the Champions League in your eyes, if he doesn't, and your favourite for those competitions isn't Arsenal, what you're saying is that manager has to overachieve in order to save his job. That's what you're saying.
Just like Wenger did. Just like
Can I,
Wenger.
and feel free to lie to this next question because you don't have to reveal anything about your personal life. But what's your? Do you mind me asking what you do for a living? You can make up a job if you don't want to tell people.
Why do I need to say my personal life?
Dan, what's your job? Do you mind me asking?
Nah, man, you know my job. I'm a senior manager at a healthcare charity.
Okay, so what's expected of you in general? Just be as vague as you like.
Oh man, I've got a nice chilled out job, man. So it's probably the worst thing to ask me. But
No,
okay, let me pretend that I know what I'm doing. I'll pretend I know that I'm busy. Now I'm joking. I've got delegation of projects and I've got bids to win, man. Money.
Dan's gonna get himself sacked on here.
Yeah.
If your boss turned around to you and said, Dan, you know the expectations you've got for your job, right? Which is you be well aware of what your expectations are. If your boss turned around to you and said that you're expected to overachieve those expectations I've set for you, here's what you're expected to do, but I want you to overachieve those. And if you don't do that, I'm going to sack you. How would you feel about that?
Yeah, listen, you know the answer to that.
How is it overachieving going to a...
Well, because you just said that your favourite for those competitions is a different team to the club that you expect to win them.
The expectation should be to win major honours. And everyone that expects us that is because he said, cultivated a culture and this club should be winning major honours.
How can you expect to win a tournament that you don't put the club as favourites to win? I don't think that makes sense.
One of the biggest clubs in England, the expectation should be to win the league, not moving the goalpost so below that now we're saying, oh, we're a big club, but we're not expected to win major honours. The expectation coming to Arsenal is to win, which is why we're
no. But the problem is, Northside, is what you do is you make it seem that if no one's saying that we shouldn't be expected to challenge and win. But you make it so linear to the point where it's so black and white. If he doesn't do X, it then leads to Y. But what I'm trying to say to you is, as Premsy said, what about if we lost by 2 points? What about if we lost on the last day of the Premier League? What about if we had 4 or 5 injuries and we still got to the semi-final of the Champions League?
It is. Wenger was never the favourite to win over Fergie. Fergie was the better manager.
Yes, he was.
What do you not
understand?
Overachievement. This little myth about overachievement, then you don't believe your club is one of the biggest clubs in England. It's not an overachievement for Arsenal to win the league. It's not an overachievement for Man United to win the league. It's not an overachievement for Liverpool. These clubs are the biggest clubs in their country. It is a standard that they should be winning the league, and it shouldn't be going 20 years without winning a major honour. And when people are telling me that, oh, because you're not favourites, we weren't. There was times I saw my club win the league. We wasn't favourites, but we got it over the line. Do you see what you do? This is what I'm saying. This fan base want to act like we're a big club, but then when this big boy standard, all of a sudden, oh, you're asking too much.
Wait, that's not what we're saying.
I don't know why this fan base can Tottenham, because they've got Tottenham mentality. Oh no, but it's overachievement.
No, mate. I mean, don't turn into the whole go support Tottenham.
What do you mean? You're the one trying to go into but you can lie if you want. I don't need to lie about nothing. What do I need to lie about? I couldn't care less.
I just think you've tied yourself in knots, I think, a little bit about the favourite, because I think you're confusing as a word which is expectation and a word which is aim. Like our aim for Arsenal has to be to win the league. The aim for Arsenal Football Club has to be to win the league. The aim for Arsenal Football Club has to win the Champions League. The expectation is different. So you can't expect a team to win something that you don't even believe they're favourites for.
No, I don't believe in the manager, and I don't believe in that bench, which you said has not been addressed. I don't believe in this manager because he's never done it. So there's valid reasons as to why I don't believe in this manager. There's a difference. The standard of this club should be to win, but the man in place isn't the guy. Same way with Ten Hag at Man United. So what are we talking about? By the standard of this club, we should be winning major honours, and it shouldn't be taking 20 years. As one of the biggest clubs in this country.
And I think that's where you go wrong this side.
The people that we've employed, I do not believe, have done the right things to get us in a position to get it over the line in winning. But do not ever tell me, as an Arsenal fan, it is an overachievement to be winning major honours.
Of course it is. Of course it's an overachievement if the favourite is another team. Of course it is. By definition it is. Like, it's just language. It's just words. Like, it's an overachievement if you win when you're not expected to.
Loser mentality. Absolute loser mentality.
You're using all the buzzwords, I guess.
Where you go wrong, right? Northside, I think where you go wrong is you make it out like it's a...
I don't go wrong because you flip-flop, Lee.
Wait, hold on. I think you
flip-flop. When it's safe, when you're on AFTV, it's all about, oh yeah, everything's great. And then when I see you, then you start trying to move the goalposts, bro. And then today you're saying, oh, we're playing attacking.
Bang, bang.
Don't worry, any flip-flopping, I'm out of here, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I think where you go wrong, though.
I don't really
Right,
care.
Northside, let Lee land, man. Let Lee
I was
land.
gonna
and
say, I
then
just
come
think
back
where
to
you
go
go
on.
wrong is
Lee,
I
go
feel
on.
like you feel like there's a God-given right for Arsenal or Liverpool or Man United or Chelsea to win or Man City to win just because it's those clubs. Like, I don't think it works like that. I think you make it out that because Arsenal are this team or that they have to win, they must win. Football doesn't work like that, and that's all I was saying. I think I don't think I'm flip-flopping. As I said, I say what I see, and you've literally explained. I think you've explained it very clearly. You've put Real Madrid, who are this heritage club, above Arsenal. But then if he doesn't win, then you're literally saying, well, he has to go. I just think it's a bit far-fetched, but it is what it is, man. And again, you're the same person that keeps saying, Odegaard. You're the same person that keeps saying Odegaard. You're the same person that keeps saying Odegaard isn't good enough for Arsenal, and you did say that. You're the same person that keeps saying Odegaard shouldn't be Arsenal captain, which you did say last week. You're the same person that's saying Odegaard isn't this, isn't that. He shouldn't be in Arsenal squad because he's clearly not good enough, etc., and he doesn't turn up for the big games. But then you're saying we haven't got players like him, and he should be this and he should be that. Well, which one is it? Should we out the team all the time and put Fabio Vieira in? Or should we just play him and see how he goes? I think you're literally making
see how it goes, because that's
season,
what you not like, innit? See how it goes, and when it crumbles at the end of the season, but it's a light squad. Phase 5. But we can't do anything because City. Look at the money that City have got. It's always looking for an excuse. This is why 20 years we ain't won nothing. But you lot talk as if you've been right for 20 years. It's absolutely crazy. How can someone that's been wrong for 20 years talk like they're right? At the end of the day, let's keep doing what you're doing. This is not the first youth project under Arsenal. We've had one with Gibbs and Wilshere. How many major honours? But we don't want to be like Chelsea, but they've won how many major honours? We always want to be throwing shade and excuses and phases and projects. And what's he won us in 20 years? That's right. No major honours. But I'm the one that's in the wrong. But the other clubs that are proactive, that are ruthless, they win. But we don't want to be like them because it's classy Arsenal. Bro, don't tell me about players. You lot, talking about, get behind it because he's one of our players. Look how quickly the fan base turned on Pepe. Much better baller than Havertz, different position. You went behind him. All of this, let's get behind Nketiah. No one cared that penalty. No one cared that penalty.
Pepe is terrible. Can we just get this out? What are you talking about Pepe? Pepe's awful. He went to Nice last season. What's
Havertz good at? What's Havertz good at?
When have I sat here and said that you're not within your rights to have concerns about Havertz? Me and Dan sat here and said that we rather have other players. Don't come and point your finger at me about Havertz because I've said.
But you're getting very triggered. If the shoe fits, then the shoe fits in it. I never said your name. You're getting very triggered.
You said
anyway,
I just want to say, Havertz is dead, man.
Exactly. This fan base had to justify the world view, bro.
Havertz is dead, and then when you an example of yes, that's what we need to do. Nicolas Pepe, he's the guy.
Bro. You know what I'm saying? But because he come through the youth academy, bro. What about Bentley? Bentley came, no one cared if he didn't make it. Pennant, no one cared if he didn't make it. But now, because he come through the youth.
Let me chuck this super chat at you lastly, because for me, big up Dale as well. Cheers for the super chat, man. He says, I think Northside saying, why aren't we favourites after 4 years? And taking 4 years is too long. I think that's legit. I disagree, but it's a legit argument. Is that where you're coming from on Northside?
Phase 4, just get behind it. Doesn't matter if we don't win. It's an overachievement. We can't win. Yeah? We can't. All your money, can't win. Leicester won the league, but all your money, we can't do it. Don't worry. Big club and all that. Tottenham don't win nothing. Let's clown them. But when it's us, overachieve, we can't do it. You know what I mean? And apparently, because of my opinion, we can't win it. As if the players are listening to me. Well, why are people so concerned about what I got to say? Because I've been right for 20 years.
I don't know. I'm not.
But you act like this is the same regime. This is the same manager.
You get rattled by it.
I haven't said you're rattled. I haven't said anything.
But you act like this is the same manager, the same regime, the same everything.
And Gunnar, I'll be watching you. Don't worry about that.
But that's what I'm saying. But my thing is, you keep saying, you've been right for 20 years.
You keep auditioning, bro. You keep auditioning.
I love Northside, man. I love
Northside. Acting like this is the same manager.
I keep it consistent. I don't blow with the win because my standard for my club is to win, bro. Because I love this club. And to love this club is to want it to win major honours. And I've seen Wenger going up against Fergie. It's the same difference with Pep now. Do you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? If people are rattled by what I'm saying, maybe you don't believe in your manager enough. Why do you care so much about what I got to say?
No, you're the only one that's actually triggered.
Like this. All right, then. You know what I mean? Don't go to Portugal because they'll definitely rattle you. You know what I'm saying? Because we say it as it is. We don't dance around it. That's why I've come onto YouTube. because we need a bit of that mentality around here and stop all of this top 4 race and all this nonsense, bro. I never used to hear this back in the day. All I used to hear is it's a beautiful day. Who's going for the league? That's it. None of this crap, bro. None of this bukaria that I hear now. And that's why I get annoyed. People think it's about a person. I don't care. You guys are fine. I couldn't care less. You know what I'm saying? Like me, don't like me. I don't care. I'm chilling. You know what I mean?
You're not talking like someone who doesn't care.
And there's not enough people pushing for this club to go great. They're pushing for the narrative and popularity and all this nonsense about, oh, don't worry about it. No, bro. No, I want to win. Sorry that I want to win rattles you so much. Yeah, but I'm not. Then I get called I'm not an Arsenal fan, but I really want to win.
No one said you're not an Arsenal fan here, by the way. No one.
No, but you said to me, feel free to lie and stuff like that. You don't even know me.
What?
You asked me about my job. You said, oh, feel free to lie.
Yeah. So I said, if you wanted to protect what you do, then feel free. That's what I said to Dan as well. I don't want to ask you to reveal what you do. I'm just saying, I was an analogy about you basically saying, if you're a boss,
he's a porn star, just to let you know, everyone.
Yeah, I was going to say,
okay.
what is it?
Fair enough. I can understand it now.
Andrew, what do you do for a living? I work on Pornhub.
Listen, I respect everyone's opinion. What I don't like is how you're labeled when you really want to win and you really are tired. Like, I was born in 92. When I'm sick and tired of seeing this club not win, that I don't have valid reason to be frustrated with this football club.
You don't because you put the same expectations.
He's frustrated with Keenal's flip-flop.
Listen, you can call it.
You might make it into one of the thumbnails, Hey, feel that puta, be careful.
Listen, you can call it what you like. Listen,
bro, I don't throw stones and hide my hand. I'll say it straight, bro.
It is what it is, man.
Don't be
you carry on tight, man. Honestly,
even you said, I remember you even said, I even got a clip on my phone, bro, because I screenshot it because I'm that petty. Yeah, you said, oh, you know what? I got to be careful now because Northside's clipping people up. I better be careful what I say.
I never in my life said that.
You didn't. Do you want me to play it?
No, I don't remember.
That's got the receipts, bro. That's got the receipts.
Bro, you're acting like one of my students. Bro, you're acting like one of my students, mate. I'll be honest. You're acting like a kid.
Right, let's get predictions. Let's get predictions for tomorrow. Lee, talk to me, man. You go first. What's score going to be tomorrow, bro?
Boy, I don't know. Probably 6-0 West Ham. Bro, just to fit with Northside, didn't it, bro? It is what it is, isn't it? It is what it is. I don't know. No, I think we'll win. I'm going to go 2-0.
2-0. Northside, what are you telling me?
Should I play the receipt?
No, man, don't do that. Don't get him even more.
Bro, I'm quite curious. Go ahead.
No, I got it right here. But yeah, I'm going for Arsenal.
Do what you need to do, man.
Lee, come on, man. You're my bedroom, bro. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I'll go with against West Ham. I think we'll. I'll go 2-1. 2-1 Arsenal.
2-1. Premzy.
I'm going to go 1-1, me. I think West Ham are a good footballing side, yeah. Away from home, we're decent, but I think we've got to give him some respect. I think David Moyes done a good job with him. I don't think it's going to be easy. They're going to be up for it. Declan Rice is returning. It might give them a little bit something extra. I think it could go to a penalty shootout.
Interesting. Tom?
2-1 Arsenal. I think West Ham will go strong. They can't use Paqueta and Alvarez at the weekend, I think. So I'm sure they'll start this week. So yeah, I think it'll be a tight game.
Interesting, man. I'm going to go 1-1 Arsenal to win on penalties. That's what I'm going.
Yep.
Forever the optimist.
I'm going to go with Premzy, man. I think it'll be difficult. I do. I think it's a horrible place to go, and I think they'll be well up for it. And I think that Moyes football will not be pretty for us to try and break down, and I think it'll be difficult. But could be wrong.
I think they're going to make quite a few changes, though, Dan, as well, which might give us a little bit of imbalance. And I think that's what it might be, where West Ham might have the regulars, whoever most likely are, and they'll have some flow better than what we will have.
Well, they made changes against Olympiacos on Thursday and they got beat 2-1 and they scored literally in the last minute by flinging everybody on. So if they play that team, we should be all right, to be fair. Let me chuck these in very quickly. Super chats that have come in. Big up both of you. Thank you so much. Richard says, I'm with Northside. Top 4 and an FA Cup every couple of years isn't good enough. No Premier League title, then you should be sacked. Warren has come in and said, I agree with everything that Northside is saying, but he compared Ollie getting second with Arteta's one actually challenge Arteta's one actually challenged City, bottled or not. The other didn't and was way off. Not the same thing. Big up Warren. Thank you so much for the super chat. And thank you all for listening, man. Thank you all for being here. We've overrun a bit. I like to try and keep these to an hour. But when they flow, they flow. And when you've got Northside and Tom at each other, it's quite funny. I can't lie.
It's
You
all
got to let it
respect,
flow.
mate. It's all respect.
Yeah, of course it is, man. It's
I just really want to know what he does for a job. That's all.
I told you, man.
Now listen, I'm a gas engineer. That's what I'm at.
Oh, respect. I respect.
There we go. Where we go, man. Listen, people. The chat's been mad tonight. I've had love for Tom, love for Northside, hate for Tom, hate for Northside, and love for me, Premsy and Lee. To be fair, so
I'm just happy I'm out of this one. You know.
Yeah.
No, I'm just happy. I'm just sitting back eating my little Kinder Bueno. You know, I think I'm enjoying the show myself. Get me front row seats, man. Get me Junior Lee sitting there looking like he's ready to start headbutting manners.
Mate, I'm chilling, mate. I'm chilling, man. It's too much craziness going on there. So
look, at the end of the day, if everyone had the same opinion, there'll be no point doing it.
Well, boring.
People have different
So boring.
It would be. And do you know what? That was the best comment of the night. And I tried to star it and it didn't work. And I'm really gutted because whoever put in the chat, if everyone had the same opinion, this show would be boring. Big up to you, man, because that was absolute facts. If we all sat on here going, aren't Arsenal brilliant, I don't think many people would want to listen. So it's all about the opinions, it's all about debates, and it's all about love, which is what everybody on the panel has. Tom, shout out your stuff, man. What you got coming up?
Yeah, you can find me at the Gooner Talk on YouTube, and you can find all written work and stuff at Football London. I'll be at the game tomorrow, doing stuff, and thank you as always, mate, for having me on. It's been a pleasure, and nice to meet you boys as well. Genuinely.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, come on, man. You're always welcome, bro. You know that. Big up, Tom. Make sure you go over to the Gooner Talk. If you want any, literally any daily news and you're on the way to work, then just tune into the Gooner Talk, man. It's great listening to Tom's daily channel, man. Great content, man. Premsy, likewise, bro. Talk to me.
Just on Premier League Unpacked yesterday. Make sure you go check it out. Chat's funny as always. Big up the panel. Obviously, I've not worked with yourself before, Tom. Nice to meet you. Northside, Lee, you know what it is. Make sure you smash a like on this video, people. Make sure you subscribe as well. Love
Premsy. Make sure you go over to Premsy TV for all of his content. Northside, what are you up to, bro?
Yeah, stay clipping, Mr. Receipts. Dropped the video today. So man, just keeping it consistent, dropping videos. Northside LDN on YouTube. Nice meeting you, Tom.
Likewise, mate.
So I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I like debates. I can't lie. I like debates. You already know, Dan. Love for having me on. Lee,
always, bro.
Come on, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Make sure you drop that clip tonight, so I can see what's going on.
Drop it who you like, man. I don't even know.
It's the thumbnail, isn't it? Send me a picture of the thumbnail.
Could care less, bro.
Premsy, love as always. You know what I'm saying? So man, big up to everyone. And man, it's been a good show. It's been a good show. So love having me on.
I always welcome, man. Love, man. My Wi-Fi is moving wild, it's telling me. But Gooner Lee, talk to me, bro. What you got coming up? How can people follow you?
To be honest, just right now, mostly on Twitter, on Instagram as well. You'll definitely catch me there. Giving my opinions. I ain't really got much going on YouTube right now, but catch me on this show every week. Premsy's show pretty much every week, and flip-flopping on AFTV. So it is what it is.
Go on Twitter and be causing trouble as well, yo. People.
Yeah,
watch out.
It is what it is. Apparently so.
Doing the leads about.
I've got a lot worse in the chat, man. You can't get offended by that.
It is. It is what it is, man. As I said, I don't get too crazy with things, but yeah.
It's all love, man. Love for the love, people. Listen, make sure you do me a favor and smash a like on this. Follow all these guys, and we will be back very, very soon with more content and back with this show next week. Until then, take it easy. Up the Arsenal for tomorrow, and come on, you gooners. Take it easy, people.